Seesaw is an amazing platform that not only allows us to increase our family engagement, but is a wonderful place in order to share learning resources, monitor student progress, and has a large arena of ready-made activities that we can push out to our students that allow our parents to see what our kids are working on in our classrooms. So today we are going to look at how to create an assignment and how to push that out to our various classes. So let's get started creating some activities in Seesaw. The first thing that you want to do is go to your Clever portal so that you can access your Seesaw. When you log in, you are going to be brought to your home screen. And on your home screen, you have a few different options for getting started. You can post to a journal, create the activity, generate an activity with AI, or message your families, all from the home screen. So there are a few different ways in which we can create activities. We can create activities with the Create Activity item here. We can generate them from AI, and we also can use the library. So the first thing we're going to do is just create an activity in the original manner. So we're going to click on Create Activity. We're going to put in a name for our activity, and then we have a few different options for creating this activity. We can create it from scratch, which means it's just going to bring us to our Seesaw panel, and we can start putting things into the Seesaw panel. We can generate the activity using AI, which means that we can put in a prompt to help us to create an activity that we sort of have an idea for. Or we can upload files and links, or we can actually use these pre-made templates, which are portfolio templates and assessment templates. We can also type some very specific instructions for your students and do a voice recording of the instructions to make it more accessible. There's an additional space for you to add some teacher notes if you want to put some instructions for yourself to remind you, to remind your students to do something. And you also can choose some standards and the activity language. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a little template. And we're just going to click on the video response template. So when we do this, and when you hover over these, you see there's always a little preview. When we do this, it's going to bring you to a page, and it's already going to be set up for your students to record a video. So you can see these little dotted lines. That is a frame. Okay. And when you're looking at this solid color, that is text. And this little item they'll be able to click on, and it's going to read the directions out loud to the student. So I always recommend that if you're going to be using one of these templates, that you have a couple of pages here, page with instructions on it, what it is that you want the student to do, and you also can add additional pages for additional aspects of the assignment. So all I do is click on Add Page on the bottom right-hand corner. And when I do that, it's going to pull up a new page. And one of the best parts about this is, of course, I can add in, let's say, a text that I am going to type out to my students, something that I want them to see. So I can click here and add something onto this, right? I can add some instructions. I can resize it. I can move it around, do whatever I want. But I also can add frames. And adding frames is going to be the things that I want the students to do. So to add a frame, I'm going to the little check mark with the star next to it, and you'll see questions and assistant and our frames. So let's say I want the students to take a photo of their work. So I can come here and actually just put a photo here. And once it's here, I can adjust this. I can move it around. I can make it bigger. I can move it wherever I want to. And essentially what will happen is when the student clicks on this item, when they come in here, it's going to automatically open up their camera just like this, and I'll be able to take the photo and put it into here. Now, if I want to add a photo of something that I have, I can just click on this, and that's going to do the same exact thing, but that's going to be coming from me. That's not necessarily what I want the student to do. So this is what I want the student to do. At any time, I can click on Preview as a student to see what they will see. And as soon as I have completed creating all of this, I want to click on the check mark, the green check mark, so that I can save this to my library. So you can see I have my instructions, my template, teacher's notes, and I'm going to save this. And once I save it, I am then able to assign it out to my students. I first have to save the item to my library in order to assign it out to my students. So you'll see now that it's in my library, I can assign it out and I can also present it to the class. Now, to find your library, you can come over to the left-hand side and you'll see it's right here, my library, and you'll see that the assignment that I just created is right here. So that is one way to create an assignment or an activity. Another way is to explore my library. Now, when I'm in the library section, there are 3 different libraries. I have my school and district account. We have the community library, which is a general group of teachers that can put an assignment out to the community library. And we also have the Seesaw Library. Now, these are assignments or activities that have been created by Seesaw advocates, so they are usually quite complete. They have multiple pages and multiple steps and are kind of a really, really nice setup for the activities. The best way for you to use this item, the Seesaw Library, is to browse by standards and curriculum. So when I click on this, you are going to see that this page pops open and I can choose Ohio for my state, and I can choose my subject, and then I can choose the grade that my students are in so that I can very specifically search for content. Now you're going to see that it's going to open up my learning standards, and it's going to show me assignments that are there for those standards. So I'm going to click on the correlation, and you'll see I have these 3 different items that I can choose from. So I'm going to click on this first one, and you will see here that I now can assign all the activities underneath this first lesson, or I can just assign the different parts of it. So when I click on Assign All Activities, it's going to give me some options. So I can send it to all of my students. I can change the settings for the checked activities here, right? I can put in different dates for due dates. And so I just would unclick this and say here, I want to have a different activity. This is going to be due on Tuesday. This one is going to be due on different day, so we do on the 31st, so I can change those items and then I can assign that out to my class. Okay. The other thing that I can do is if I have this and I'm going to save it to my library, so I can save that to my library. The other thing I can do is I can edit any of these items at any time. Ooh. Okay. It's saying I don't have a little error here, okay? So I'm just going to go back to my library, and you'll see that I can view on these items and I can edit these things as well. So here we go. I can edit the template, I can edit the instructions, I can add teacher's notes to it, and I can do all of this before I assign it to my students. So just a quick reminder, you can save a bunch of things to your library, and once it's saved in your library, you can then push out those assignments. So I'm just going to assign this first one to my students, and you'll see here it is. I can assign it to all my students or just to certain students. I also can assign it to certain classes, and I can put it in a folder if I want to keep everything organized. So once I've assigned it, so I'm just going to click Assign Now, you'll see that it has an activity link that I can push out, or I can just tell the students that I have assigned something to them, and when they log in, they'll see that there is something assigned and they can start. They click Start and then they get started. You can review the responses from here, and that's just under your Activities section. If you have any questions about creating Seesaw activities, please let me know, and I can meet with you at any time. Thank you and have a wonderful afternoon.